Again.
It's not gonna work.
After you.
So what's going on, everybody? JevMan316 here. Wanted to give my quick little review of the film MEG 2 The Trench. Yeah, I just saw it in the theaters. Had mixed emotions about it, so I wanted to put it on video in a little review. So let's open the intro here by saying this. I didn't think that a movie entitled MEG 2 that involves a giant octopus and not one, not two, but three MEGs, that I would come out thinking, damn, I wished I saw more MEG action. Yeah, let's get into the review and I'll let you know my feelings. Let's go. So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the JevMan316 Pop Culture Reporter channel. I'm your host, as always, JevMan316. Yeah, that's me. We're here to talk about MEG 2 The Trench. I just saw it in theaters, like I said in the opening. Had mixed emotions when I came out of the theater. Still a few days later after it settled, I think I still have mixed emotions. So I wanted to get my thoughts about the movie on video in this review. So the movie is obviously just like the first MEG. It's a Jason Statham vehicle, totally. Not a lot of big name actors other than him in the movie. So I was a pretty big fan of the first MEG movie. I thought it had some decent amount of shark action in it. Thought it had pretty good CGI. It didn't do quite enough for me. I wish it had went a little bit farther with some of the shark action, but I can understand it wasn't produced fully in America by American movie companies. I thought it was a little tame because of the way the movie was produced, but that's okay. It had some pretty memorable moments in it, and it had pretty good amount of action throughout the movie. So I was really looking forward to seeing MEG 2, and I will say that I was a little disappointed after seeing it. I'm going to try to do this without spoilers, and if it is, it's going to be minor spoilers of only things you might have seen in the trailer.
I am not listening to Jeffrey, but he's still talking.
So I'm going to at least talk about things I saw in the trailer. If that bothers you and you don't want that level of minor spoilers, skip to the end. You'll hear my rating and my final thoughts. And one of the main issues that I had with this movie is I didn't know what they were thinking with the level and the amount of subplots that they put in this movie. I'll go over some of those thoughts. Like I said, a majority of this you're going to have seen in the trailers, and I still don't understand what they were trying to do. After seeing it, I almost felt like this movie had more subplots than a Quentin Tarantino 3-hour epic. And it was over 2 hours. So what were they thinking with that runtime?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker.
Okay, sorry. I'll quit talking about that. But the level of subplots, I think, ended up making the runtime extremely bloated. I think there's a really good hour and 35-minute cut of this movie out there that tightens up the plots and puts more shark action together. What I will say is the movie opens with that intro that you see in one of the trailers where it's got the T-Rex being eaten by the MEG, which is totally ridiculous, because unless the beach goes off into a damn abyss with a big gigantic trench, how in the world would the MEG swim up where you didn't even see it to attack the T-Rex and pull him into the water? But I digress. You know there's going to be silly shark action like that. So you probably want to see that. So I'm kind of okay with that. So after that, you start with one of the subplots. Somebody's dumping toxic waste into the ocean, and Jason Statham and his team wants to get proof and so they can stop them. That's one subplot. The next one, they've captured a MEG. They've built a facility with a giant aquarium, and they're trying to prove that they can, quote unquote, control them to some extent. They're doing that with one. They've got it tagged so they can track it. You know that was going to come to play later in the movie. You've got another subplot that's got some family drama. Jason Statham ends up being the guardian, I guess you would say, of the little girl from the first movie. And I'll just add this in there. I had no clue that the little girl was going to be back. She's like 14 now. I didn't realize it was that big of a gap between these movies. I had a no holy shit moment in the theater when I kept looking at her going, where have I seen that actress before? Holy shit, that's the little girl from the first one. So she wants to go down in the trench on the next trip. He doesn't want her to. A lot of family drama there. She, of course, stows away on the one of the vehicles. I'm not going to go too deeper into that subplot. There's another subplot that they've built these mech suits. And when you go down into the trench, it'll give you the ability to walk. And one of them, they even showed them pounding a piece of concrete and busting it. I don't think they did enough with those suits. You introduced them, you thought they were going to be cool, and they don't even tie into the end of the movie at all. So that's a lost opportunity for some action there. When they get into the trench, they discover that they're not down there alone. I'm not going to go over, it would be a spoiler to tell you what's down there, but let's just say some bad guys are down there doing bad guy things. You notice the one thing that's happened, other than seeing the MEG that they're trained, I'm not telling you about a lot of MEG action, right? I'm almost thinking it's 20 or 30 minutes before they get down there and they get chased by a MEG before you see any action.
That's Bush. Bush League.
You hear me? Andre! Look at me!
The movie is too bloated. There's too much plot. You got a giant octopus, you got 3 MEG sharks. What the fuck else more do you need? Throw Jason Statham in there, you should have a perfect movie, right?
Good idea, oh Lord. Of course it's a good idea.
So then once they're down there, you got the whole deal about once they're trapped, how they're going to get back up. Once they get up, MEGs are obviously going to follow. You know that from the trailers. Then you got to deal with that. There's way too much plot, like I said. The second thing that I'll tell you is every major MEG action sequence that is in the movie, you've seen bits and pieces of it in the trailer. I was not surprised at all by anything. I think that made the movie a little flat for me. I wasn't seeing anything new. I wasn't seeing anything that I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that was going to happen. I pretty much expected everything to unfold exactly like it did. There's some awkward fighting sequences with Jason Statham to where you're like, should he be able to do this? Should he be able to randomly turn into one of his characters from one of his other movies like The Transporter and fight these people and all that? Now, when he's not doing the fighting and some of the other characters are, they actually make fun of themselves to the fact that they talk about how they know how to do that type of stuff. That's the one thing I think is wrong with this movie. It takes itself too seriously. It's trying to be a serious action movie. You should have embraced the idea of a MEG, embraced the idea of having multiple ones in the movie, embraced the idea of having a giant octopus there. A lot of that stuff is lost just in all the subplots. The movie to me is not bad. It's not terrible. I think it's the CGI of the sharks, actually a step up this time. A couple of the action sequences are just as good or better than the original. So I'm not going to give this a thumbs up, and I'm definitely not going to give it an on fire. MEG 2, The Trench, unfortunately gets meh, right down the middle. I'll probably end up buying it if there's a good 4K steelbook when it comes out, but it's so that I can watch the beginning, skip an hour, watch the end. There's too much plot. But what's there, the juicy bits, will be good to see again. I just don't want to have to sit through a whole 2-hour movie all over again. I will say this. There is a mating ritual scene that probably is going to lead you to believe when you see it that there's going to be a third movie, and you're going to probably know what the plot of that is. And I know the plots of the books. If you know that, then I'll just say this. It's probably going to basically really be the plot from the third book is what they're going to use. So did you see MEG 2? If you did, do you agree with my review? If you didn't, do I make it to where you don't want to see it? I don't know. Either way, if you don't like MEG 2, at least like my video. Give it a thumbs up, smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. JeffMan316. We do a lot of live streams. Do a lot of watch along bullshit about movies on the weekends. So come join us for that. Watch all my content. Share it. And then after you do all that, please do me a favor, hit the notification bell. You'll know when I post new videos. So hopefully I'll do more reviews like this in the future. Let me know in the comments if you like these things. And until next time, boys and girls, this has been JeffMan316, and I'm your pop culture reporter, and I'm signing out saying, you guys be safe out there.
Mr. Mayor, Chief, ladies and gentlemen.